Hey guys, it's Tuesday again, and for the first time I'm going to start off with my week. Um, as usual, it's been another up and down week, but you know, when you have something like POTS, there's never a day the same as another day. So looking through my diary, I forgot to fill it in this week, so I was like writing it in this morning going, what did I do last Wednesday? Yeah, let's try to read. Basically, I had no energy beginning of last week, and anytime I did something or went anywhere, I kept having like these strange POTS attacks of dizziness and nausea, and it was just not nice. And it was okay, but it wasn't great. And then last Thursday was really it started off well. We have like a speedboat, and we went down to our boat and I basically went sailing. And I was good the journey down, and I was good when we started to set the boat up because we haven't used it all winter because it's been too cold, but it was really sunny. And I went there for the first time and we went out onto the water, and it was so sunny that I basically overheated and I took a POTS attack. And I react so badly to sun. I had factor 60 sunblock on, and I still like got a heat rash, and I had a sun hat on and everything, and oh my goodness, we basically had to come home, but it was still good to get out. Hopefully I'll get better as as I get more used to it, but it basically made me really ill all night because I felt like I had heat stroke even though it hadn't been warm, and it gave me really bad stomach issues, but it wasn't too bad. Anyway, basically the whole rest of the week I've been really strange, and just kept having these really strange kind of attacks and things. And on Sunday it was such a bad day. I literally felt I was dying, and that's like I just didn't know what was wrong with me, and everything was wrong, and I just felt really bad, and I felt so ill that I was like, should I go to hospital or something? It was really bad. But anyway, we think we've worked out my problem, and we think that hay fever has started. For my whole life I've suffered from hay fever, but normally it doesn't start this early on in the year, and it's only March, and it's definitely hay fever, and it seems that my body, my POTS, is under attack from the hay fever whilst it gets used to all the pollen again. And because I've had runny eyes and runny nose and itchy eyes, and I've been sneezing and coughing, and my voice is like deeper because I'm like choked, and it's so classic of hay fever, but it just made me feel really ill whilst I was adjusting to it. But yeah, that moves me on to talking about this thing I've been mentioning in my previous videos, of this thing I think I might have other than POTS. And because of this hay fever reaction I've had, we are basically convinced I have it, and it's called mast cell activation. And basically, I'll read out what it says. Some patients with POTS have coexistent mast cell activation, and these patients have episodic flushing and loads of other stuff with it, and test it like this and test it like that, and they'll produce too much histamine, and I suffer so much from histamine with my heart and my allergies, and yeah, it's really complicated, and too much histamine releases too much of the chemical prostaglandin E2, and prostaglandin E2, I'm still learning about this, I'm so like vague about the whole thing, but it's what gives mainly women with pregnancy and morning sickness. It's basically what gives, if you have too much prostaglandin E2, you get really bad morning sickness. And prostaglandin E2 gives you really bad nausea if you have too much of it. And it gives, it is something called a direct vasodilator, which relaxes all your blood vessels and everything, hence the fact whenever I stand up, all our blood drops and pools and our heart goes, and our blood vessels don't contract properly, so it's very similar to POTS. And it also gives you brain fog, so we're getting very close to working out maybe some treatments, and I'm trying out new treatments, but I'm just not reacting well to them at all. But hopefully we're getting closer. So yeah, I'll write in the description box the names of these things, like how to spell them and things, and if you want to know any more about it, then message me. Or if you want to add me on Facebook, I've got my POTS account and I changed the name to Olivia K. Potsy, so add me on Facebook under my POTS account if you don't know me. But I seem to be tolerating my hay fever a bit more now, even though I sound like choked, and I'm using my eye drops and everything, and I'm getting better. And today was much better again, and I went out shopping for the first time in a couple weeks. And I'll show you what I got. I got a couple of rings. Like, I got this ring. Not sure if you can see that. It's got loads of beads on it. It's just a bit kind of crazy. And I got this because I thought this was really kind of a bit crazy, and I like kind of crazy things. This is a ring, and it's a picture of it's a camera. So like a ring with a camera on it. I just thought it was really quirky, and I like rings, so I like cameras, I like rings, so I got a camera ring. And that was good. And I also got some sunglasses because my sunglasses broke this week. I've had the same sunglasses for the past 3 years, and they snapped in half this week, and so I had to go and buy new sunglasses. So there's my sunglasses. And I made sure that they have 100% UV protection and very tinted to block out the sun because of my sensitivity to light. And also I've been doing some online shopping this week and I got a pair of shoes, and I just may as well show you them. And I was really happy with them because I've never bought anything online to wear it before, because I've always been scared they won't fit, but they fit perfectly. And they came with a free notepad. So yeah, and also today with my rings I got some sweets. So today's been a much better day. But it's been a tough week. I've gone from being so ill to a bit better, so that's really good. And now I'll be moving on to my questions, but I recorded them earlier, so I'm in daylight answering questions. So moving on to the questions, it was good to see so many videos this week. Stacey, do you suffer from anxiety like when you're going out? And yes, sometimes I do. I think it's more the kind of fear of the unknown, because I'm like, what if I throw up in front of everybody? What if I collapse? What if my heart rate goes over 200 beats and there's nowhere to sit down? Or what if the heat gets too much for me and I have to like run out of the shop and get fresh air? And it's like, oh, you know, because I never know if I'm going to have a good or a bad. You can never predict when they come on. And the other day I was out by myself, and well, I was out with my mum, but she was in a different shop and I was in a different shop, and I took out an attack, and I I suddenly my heart went so fast that I started breathing really fast and I was almost hyperventilating. And I thought to myself, what if somebody comes over and asks, are you okay? Because I'm just standing in the middle of the shop going, like, out of control. And I thought, how will I answer somebody because I can barely speak when I'm that out of breath? And so I guess it's just more the kind of fear of what happens if this happens or something. And oh my goodness, I sometimes find that if I'm like out in a shop and I feel really sick, I'm like looking where the closest toilets are, or like, you know, just in case I have to suddenly dash, but it's never happened and I really hope it doesn't happen. Rachel, how do you remember to take your medicines? I always keep them in the same place every day, and I can usually tell if I've taken them, but my family also remind me all the time. Millie, how much Gatorade water do you drink each day? Now, I once tried drinking 8 pints of water a day. Now, I don't know what you measure in, but 8 pints is like a glass, it's about this big. It's about as big as my head. And anyway, we thought I was maybe drinking too much and poisoning myself, so now I just tend to drink like a whole glass whenever I'm thirsty. And I was advised by doctors to drink as much as you need so that you make your urine completely clear. And so that works. And I take 1 bottle of Gatorade each day, but since I was diagnosed with POTS, but we have Gatorade in the UK, but it's completely different ingredients to the American version, and so I have to order it from America, which, is, I guess you could say it's expensive, but it's worth it. I've complained to the company here saying that I'm still kind of working out the legal stuff with them right now. Okay, Colleen, do you get acne flare-ups when you get POTS flare-ups? Not that I've noticed, so what I try to do, my skin routine is wash face with face cloth, flannel, whatever you call it, and cold water, not hot water, cold water. Never use soap on face, and get a moisturiser that claims to not block pores, because that's really important, because you can get some moisturisers which will do you more bad than good. So, and do you get sensory overload? Now, I've never heard of that before, that like term, but I suppose depending on whether it's a good or a bad POTS day, I can handle what's going on around me or not. But I do find that I'm so sensitive to smells, bright lights, large, loud sounds, and that, if it's like too bright, or say I'm watching a TV and the light at the bottom of the screen is like really bright on some TVs, I'll just be like, I can't look at the screen because there's a bright light underneath it. Yeah. Caroline, do you use an alarm clock, and when do you go to bed, wake up? I don't have an alarm clock, and my mum tends to wake me up by getting my dog to jump on top of me. And I don't have any set times to go to bed, wake up, but like I'm a really bad sleeper, like insomniac, and like I don't go to bed till, I don't think I've ever gone to bed before 1 in the morning. It's usually about, 3, 4. And I wake up numerous times in the night, and yeah. I don't have a set time to get up, but I usually get up around 10. But it ranges between 9 to 12, so whatever, so yeah. So that was the questions, and Emily, I'm sorry that you couldn't make a video yesterday, but I hope you start to feel better again. And my question for the week was going to be, do you get hay fever? So, and if you do, has it started this year or not, depending on, I guess, the weather, maybe. And if you do normally get hay fever, though, what do you use to treat it? So I use antihistamine eye drops. I sometimes use like a nose spray, I sometimes rub like a special nose balm around my nose so the pollen doesn't go up my nose, and I take antihistamine tablets. But yeah. So what do you get hay fever, and how do you control it? And I hope everybody's had a good week, and let's hope that next week gets better.